Hi everyone, we're just going to talk a little bit about something that is relevant all the time, but considering that we are in this COVID pandemic where a lot of us are having to spend more time at home, or we might find we're home at night a lot more, we might have a little bit more free time, then this situation has the potential for us to waste time or to utilize time. And the Bible encourages us to redeem the time. We might waste time, for example, by increasing our TV watching by 300% during this period. And later on, we kind of regret that we wasted a lot of time. Now, there is some good things to watch. There's good sermons and interviews and so on YouTube, but we certainly can waste a lot of time with games and TV shows and so on. And so we're just going to talk about the value of reading, just simply reading the Bible. This really is a critical discipline in the Christian life, and we've got a great opportunity now. Some of us are just home a little bit more and just might have a little bit more stillness and quietness, and what a great opportunity to invest ourselves into reading the Bible. So I'm just going to throw to Matt and just ask you, Matt, what would you say are some of the key reasons why it's important to read the Bible?
Yeah, well, I think for me personally, the Bible is the inspired, inerrant word of the living God. It is a testimony to mankind of who God is and how we as his image bearers can relate to him, how we can be saved, how we can know him. And ultimately the Bible is the testimony of his son Jesus Christ, that he did come and die on the cross for the forgiveness of our sins. And yeah, the Bible is just a big expanded blow up picture of what Jesus was going to do and what he will do in the future. And really it's the Christian's joy that I find, and in my own personal experience, to really dive into this deep well of just knowledge and of and in some sense you almost experience it as well as you read through it, as you go through the different authors, as you can feel their tones, as you can see what they're trying to pinpoint. You just get a different, it's like looking at a shining diamond. There's many cuts and angles on the diamond, and the Bible's this wonderful sparkling diamond where you're able to look at it from many different angles, but from every angle that you look at, you do see the glory of God in it. And for me, that's probably the greatest joy of reading the Bible, is that you can actually know the triune living God.
Yeah, I really like that point you make about it's an experience. So yeah, we're certainly not just accumulating knowledge. We're not just reading stories. The stories are great. But reading the Bible and with an open heart, it is an experience of God. We actually do encounter God through the Bible. So what's your approach? Do you just pick out random verses and chapters, or do you read Genesis to Revelation in a year? Or there's obviously different things. There's plans you can get on your phone. Like, do you have a particular approach that you find works for you?
For me personally, I try to set goals, because then I'm just a goals-driven person. If I don't set goals, I tend to sort of aim a bit wondrously. I did try a while back just kind of doing a verse here, a verse there, and jumping around the place. For me personally, that didn't work too well. And I found often I was taking a lot of verses out of context, and I wasn't understanding the big grand picture that was surrounding that verse. Because I think we as Christians too often make the mistake of very zoom in, and I make this mistake still. You zoom in on one verse and you forget the surrounding 20 in that chapter or something like that. So the approach I take is, well, the one that I've been doing recently is I started at 1 Samuel and worked through 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings. Then I did all the pre-exile minor prophets. Then I read the post-exile minor prophets. I read Ezra and Nehemiah, and now literally just this morning I've started back in the Gospel of Matthew to try and see just how Israel as a nation transitioned from that Second Temple period into when Jesus walked the earth, and just to try and get more of a cultural vibe of how it was.
Great, that sounds excellent. Yeah, no, there certainly is an advantage in reading books from start to finish, and it doesn't necessitate going Genesis to Revelation, because if you use that system, you don't really get to the New Testament until about September, and that's an awful long time to go in a year without diving into the teachings of Jesus. So yeah, one thing I find similar is so good just to take a book of the Bible and maybe have a few running at once, be reading Genesis and Matthew, be reading Job and Revelation. One thing we do in our family is my wife and I, we're just reading separate books but together. We've just started Micah, And as a family, we've just finished doing Second Thessalonians. So when we're together as a family at night, we just tend to work through books. And yeah, I find it's very helpful, very rewarding. So yeah, just a few comments we like to share. We're all learning on this journey, and I'm sure you've got some comments you could make about your own Bible reading strategy. But let's keep in the Word and just be encouraged as we keep delving into God's truth.